All right, we're live on Facebook and we're live on Blog Talk Radio. So, greetings to the body of the people. This is a man called Chris Dorsey. Let's see. Just gonna start inviting a bunch of folks to the show, and hopefully they will join us. And we will have a great show tonight. The the title of the show is called, sorry, I was just seeing patterns with the name Max. The patterns with the name Max. Roland Max. What was the other one last night? Rosa Max. Maxwell, my dog. So I just invited Roland Max to the broadcast and just made that strange connection. Maxwell is a good name. Max, that's all right name too. You know, that's cool. It's the same name. I guess it's just shortened. But just seeing the connections, because that's all it is that we do here. We just watch and see the connections that that are occurring in front of us. Oh well. And I'm dealing with a cracked screen here on my phone. The screen was just cracked on the walk, so that's why I'm a little out of sorts. Um, because as folks who are in the know are aware, okay, we're back. As folks in the know are aware, I basically come up with the show while I'm walking my dog Max. That's where I get the idea. Okay, this is where we're gonna go. This is, I just get my head straight, and so basically, my fault. Obviously, my fault. In every event, but I run low on plastic bags to clean up after Max around the neighborhood, and I was down to something that's just was a ripped apart plastic bag. So completely my fault. Max didn't have enough exercise yet today, and I'm not training him well enough not to pull. But I am. I have my phone out because that's what I use for my flashlight to light myself at night. I mean, I wish I had much more technical equipment, easier than walking around with a hard to handle bag of poop in one hand and some kind of phone that's also a flashlight in the other. But anyway, I'm my hands were full. I was holding the leash in the same hand I was holding the phone. Max took off pulling, and a crack, and the screen is cracked. This happened within the past 15 minutes. So in any event, that's what's going on. That's why it's a little dark. That's why we're coming on a little out of sorts, but we got to get to the key point of everything. Does it really matter? I mean, I just was saying it's only just noticing what's in front of us that's happening. That's all we do. We just notice things, and that's what else can anyone do? I mean, notice things, take actions. I mean, that's a notice. To give one notice is to take a certain action. But we're just yeah, well, that's what we have been calling him, La Maxwell, like that La Milton from Boondocks. La Milton, so we call him La Maxwell. Although he's a very sweet dog. He's not and also Bebe Kid. That's what Max is like. Um, but he is a sweet dog, and of course I love him. But and again, it's my fault. I just I'd never never had a dog that was so ill ill mannered at times. I wouldn't say ill. I don't know, but again, that's my fault. I I can't blame that on his upbringing. Although I did get him as an adult dog. But anyway, I love Max. But yeah, that's what happened. It was my fault. I was stupid enough to hold. I mean, I knew what he was gonna do, or capable of doing at least. So I was holding the phone and he pulled. I was holding the phone in the same hand with I was holding his leash. He pulled. Phone hit the ground. I had no idea it was cracked until I looked at a greetings, Cliff. Until I looked at a message I just got um, about somebody asking like one of the individuals who's a helper of the, or not a helper of, part of the operation, asking what time the broadcast was going to be tonight. I was like, I had some kind of new background. Did that happen when it hit the ground? It looks like some kind of, like, I don't know, abstract art or something like that. So and greetings, Cliff. I'm seeing if we can bring you on camera. So I didn't even notice that it was cracked. It was some sort of abstract uh drawing in the back like that, and then I slowly realized, oh yeah, I'm not very smart sometimes. It's not something that trigger. I didn't use Occam's razor on that one. That thing is cracked. But anyway, Cliff, how's it going, dude? It's good to see you. And I don't know what do we say to start off this broadcast. The title of the tonight's show is Psyops
Yeah, so
Battleground
I
America,
was looking at the
Agenda
other thing
21.
that says
Hey, we're getting lots of background
there's
noise.
So does it sound like someone's talking?
Yeah, well, it sounds like somebody was talking like
That I think
just
I
then. Like,
think my roommate's on
yeah,
the
but
phone,
okay, right on.
but
Well,
maybe
hey,
there's also static.
it wasn't static. It's actually
But
coming through
yeah, I
pretty
mean,
clear.
I'm. Oh, okay. Because
Anyway,
I'm as far as this whole thing, I'm seeing people trying to say the
but
George
wait,
Floyd
wait.
thing wasn't fake,
Yeah,
and
I know, and I was just thinking about that, and so, like, we go through the same resistance every time, and when I say resistance, I mean resistance to the truth. We come through the same resistance every time one of these things happens. All the things that show that it's fake, it's staged, they're forgotten and thrown out the window, and it just becomes, oh, um, it was real and it wasn't fake.
yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
you
looking
think it's
at
the
them,
cash cab guy and it wasn't the cash cab guy.
so
You
yeah,
think
I mean,
that's what you think, if they even get into it. But yes, I was thinking about
but
George
and
Floyd
then
today.
with
So let me just get this out, because the latest video shows how much of a fraud it was, because this guy started screaming, I can't breathe. George Floyd started screaming, I can't breathe, before anyone touched him, before anybody made any physical contact with him.
and
So talk
we're,
about
we're
hitting a
not
line
even
too
sure
early.
and we're not even sure where this is supposed to happen in the sequence of events that is the murder of the screenplay, the murder of George Floyd,
Right.
and
The
the
screenplay.
Jacob Blake thing. Why is it that individuals can't just pick out the obvious things like, oh, this shooting of Jacob Blake happens when he's behind the car door, so you can't confirm if and if he's shot 7 times, isn't he got to fall out from behind the car door? Like what? Why? And the video cuts off. At least it cut off for
Right.
me. I haven't seen extended video, but and then I just remember seeing, and I need to look this up again, but in one article I saw, it said Jacob Blake was airlifted to a hospital. Why in the world we need to be airlifted? And where's video of that? Are you telling me no one?
Yeah, no one
No
took
one
video
caught.
of the chopper coming. I'll tell you what, I used to take video of choppers, coming into St. Mary's Hospital in Richmond, Virginia. So, and I can still see the choppers. I still have filmed choppers flying in. They're military choppers. They're medevac choppers. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah, somebody would have video of that, including, hey, the chopper itself here in. This is an interesting thing here in Virginia. It's the military and the hospitals and the state police that run a joint operation when it comes to operating these helipads and the flight patterns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not nothing, like you said, Clifford. How about what some folks are saying, that it was kind of like that Turkish embassy Saturday Night Fever Russian minister assassination, where the gunshots start going off before the guys even pulled the gun out of his freaking 007 Saturday Night Fever coat.
That happened with this one. I was so primed looking for other fakery that, because I just assume they edit in gunshots at this point. I'm just assuming it's all edit, so I don't even look to see if the timing matches the video anymore, because I'm just like,
Well, here's the thing,
it almost
Clifford. Let
even
me
sounds
stop you
like the
there.
same gunshot.
Whoa. Let me stop you, because that's the wrong way to. I mean, I'm not like, saying but I'm saying, like, as far as what I've figured out, it's so easy. You like that's why you got to, like, look for the easiest things first. And I think this is a good segue to. And that's how I wished to start the show. I actually had the show lined up in my head before I even took the walk, and then I screwed it up. But hopefully we'll get it going here, because I wanted to show the start of the show not with my ugly mug, but with just the phone, the video camera, pointing at the pictures of what. As far as the best thing I can find out, I know, is Wendy Lewis and what I best I can figure out, Wendy Rittenhouse, that are different people, at least listed on public records as different people, but are relatives. Because, like, who knows really what's going on, except for, again, Derek Chauvin could have been, Ben Bailey, but it doesn't matter. What we know is that the mugshot and the video, the head of the individual, and I'm using my words very carefully, taking into account the possibility of deep fakes, etc. The head is a different head. I presume the body is a different body, but at least the head is a different head. In the headshot, to be exact, is a different headshot of Derek Chauvin from the video that everyone in the world has seen, that is completely fake on many other levels other than this one. That's the obvious, that's without dispute, is Derek Chauvin is different in the mugshot than he is in the video. Different face, different. So everyone can take you in all sorts of different areas and tell you this and tell you you're stupid because of that. If you don't notice that, you're stupid, but everyone glosses over that. So Wendy Lewis, Wendy Rittenhouse. Okay. They wish to tell us that those two Wendy's in that one picture, who are publicly listed as relatives, that's all we know. The one listed as Wendy Rittenhouse is to me looks like a female. Now, if somebody wants to say, like, nobody gets into an argument and says, no, that's not a female. They just say, oh, you win the prize for the stupidest person on the internet. And I'm like, I can't be the only one that's seeing it because other folks are seeing it. Where is everything else? And why, if that's the case, why does it say two separate women's names instead of them just saying, oh, they meant to write Kyle down where they wrote Wendy Rittenhouse? And yeah, I guess it could seem
Chris,
like that's, yeah.
When you say they forgot, they meant to write Kyle down, do you mean on the Facebook picture, or do you mean on the public records?
On the public record. I mean on the public records and on the Facebook picture. Because, like, so, that's the other thing. It's the same hometown, and there are pictures of these individuals. So the point I was going to get to is that they, like, got to rub it in your face so you don't even, like, verify the first part of the story. That's where it all falls apart. That's where you can pick out everything else after that fact. After that fact. Hey, that doesn't look like a teenage boy. That looks like a woman who is attempting to pass as a man, i.e., Boys Don't Cry, that movie with Hilary Swank, where she plays some dude called Brandon, and it's always some name like Mulan. Brandon or Kyle or something like that. It's never like I don't know, like Edward or like I don't know. It's always some like kind of like new, weird sounding like Kyle, Gavin. That's the ones. Anyway, I mean, to me, it just seems like a mockery. Like that's Cliff. What do you think? That's looks like a woman, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Feminine feature. I mean, there was a time on the internet, specifically YouTube, where transvestigations were very, very popular, and that was another government psyop in part. And this is nothing new. There's always word of mouth and rumors about particular celebrities being closeted transgenders. But regardless, after that period, I sharpened my skills at detecting sexual dimorphism among the two genders, because there's only two genders, and specifically, right, again, sexual dimorphism. So maybe it's more accurate to say the two sexes. But yeah, that soft features, not very angular jaw, bigger eyes. And then again, I suspect this individual might be on some sort of male hormones, or again, there's other things you can do. There's breast binding. There's a lot of tricks to this.
I believe there was evidence of the breast binding, in the pictures. If one looks close at the pictures, there's evidence of the breast binding. But in any event, to me, she looks, that's a woman, and it matches up with
the public records.
With the public records.
It's similar to how when you do your genealogy, Chris, how what the actual genetic and biological evidence shows, how it syncs up with the archives, with the actual genealogical records.
Yeah, it syncs up. Hey, and I want to thank, I think the guy's name is, and I'm sorry if I don't get it right, but it's the Orange Clown and the Head Choppers at Twitter, because he was the guy that got that for me. And I did two takes on the video. And the first one I said, hey, thanks to Orange Head Choppers and I think that's what it was, or Orange Clown and the Head Choppers Twitter, because he was the guy that basically, it was like, I mean, it's like one of those things where you see, it's like, that looks like a woman. That's not that, the outline of the body, now you can start seeing techniques where it's like, you start noticing, these tricks that they use, and where to look to see, like you say, the
when
jaw.
we get to this, when we get to this level, I start then like, so the pictures we see, the still images are of what's a woman. Then I start to wonder, hey, do they have multiple actors running this thing, and they've got someone for the images and someone different for the video? And then when I go back to look at the video of Kyle Wendy Rittenhouse running, it looks
like a woman running.
It looks womanly hips. The guy that has the hips of a woman trying to pretend to be a man. And again, for me, the first red flag is when they redact footage. I didn't even care to see anything else the minute the key moment that would confirm everything they're saying. It's redacted because it's too graphic. It's too graphic, but we can have Netflix cuties where an 11-year-old wishes to join a twerking team. Oh, that's not too graphic, but this we gotta censor this airsoft gun.
Who even think, like, are folks, is the public that crazy, Cliff? Are they that crazy? Because it's like, who has time to, or sick, I guess is the thing. But again, like, I wouldn't have known about that if it wasn't for Facebook and my particular Facebook feed or whatever social media, because it was all over Twitter. You know how some days it's just like you don't see anything else but these folks talking about it. So Wendy Rittenhouse, the Kenosha shooter, she was all over everything, because that's the thing they throw out there, like, oh, that's a hero, and then the other side, the other 50% of everything on everybody's news feed is, oh man, don't drop the soap in prison, this is a white supremacist, this is the militia, blah blah blah, oh, this person crossed state lines, this person's 17 years old, blah 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 blah, horrible, take everybody's guns, oh no, this is a hero. And they don't stop and think, like, wait, the whole thing doesn't make sense. We were showing you fake videos, what was it, 2 nights before this, where they had the MRAP that was surrounded by the other cops that grew their hair out long for a couple months, doing a military drill, surrounding that MRAP, and then having the MRAP deploy some sort of like gas agent, which just seemed to be like, a smoke bomb. And like, what? I mean, what the hell? I mean, we already told you, all this stuff is fake. It's fake what's going on out there. Like the shooting of the guy's fake. I mean, crisis actor, that, it's the same lawyer every freaking time. Like they have ways of like pushing this forward. So, okay, I'm gonna point the camera to this. So obviously we went through ad nauseum about my cracked camera. So I can't tell whether you can see this good or not, but
we can see it. It's good. It's fine. The camera lens isn't been damaged.
Okay, so it says Wendy Rittenhouse, related to Wendy E. Lewis. It doesn't say Wendy Rittenhouse, the same name, the same person as Wendy Lewis. It doesn't say that. 26 years old.
I mean, some freaking chump is trying to say, oh, that's the mother. And it's like, are you just going to keep ignoring the data point of a Wendy that is 26 and could scientifically not be the mother of a 17-year-old male who does not appear on the list of relatives? It's like, I don't believe people are this dumb. I think they're just shameless liars and cowards, and it makes me want to vomit.
They don't say like, oh, that's a coincidence. It's a coincidence it's the exact same town. It's a coincidence that they're listed as 2 Wendys, one Wendy with another Wendy, and that they are listed as relatives and that Kyle is using the same two last names but is not listed here. I mean, Antioch, Illinois, the exact town. There's the backstory of Kyle and there being some sort of court document case where neither party showed up, and that's really the only record that this child went to school, at least that they're making public. Did you? I mean, Cliff, you heard that one. I mean, is it important that we point all this stuff out? Is it important that we show you that everything that's like, what are they saying out of this? They're going like, oh wow, we need to take militias off the street. It's not, militias aren't even on the street now. I mean, I'm always carrying around a gun.
It's just a mockery
with me. But let me finish this, because I'm always openly carrying a gun with me. I never get attacked by Jews with skateboards. I don't have a very obscure social media footprint. What I do when I'm armed and I'm doing something other than just like walking around my every daily thing, it's well documented on social media. Okay, here's another thing. They go like, oh, this is a cadet, a junior cadet uniform. That looks like, to me, judging in the world of the the common law, they say now you can't impersonate a police officer. And if I saw that badge right there, I would presume, and that you can find that on your own computers and magnify it, move it as close or as far away as you like to see. I'm just showing you. Wendy Rittenhouse Lewis, May 1st, 2019, so a year and several months ago, with Wendy Lewis. And if we're wrong, we shouldn't just have like, oh, that's the married name and what? It's like saying Wendy Lewis.
She tagged herself twice.
She tagged herself twice with a different name, with a different last name.
Also,
yeah.
Also, so the Wendy that is the 26-year-old, Wendy Rittenhouse. So because when I first saw this image, the caption was saying this was like a 7th grade version of Kyle. It right. Was a younger version than the 7th, but they uploaded this picture that would have been 7th grade from like half a decade ago. They upload this on the night on 2019.
Okay, but hold on, Cliff, because date that's stamped there, it says May 1st, 2019. Now, here's some possibilities. That could be completely wrong. Somebody could have edited that in. I did not do that. Somebody could have. But if that is correct, like the other public documents are showing, that right there would have to be a 16-year-old boy. What they're telling us that there is a 16-year-old boy. I mean, let me know. Let me know if they do. Do they dress 16-year-old boys up like cops? Like badge. That's a badge. Patch, name tag. If they do, now I don't see any guns there. That's true. Now, what's going on with that? I don't know. I mean, is that normal for some sort of? This looks like it might be some sort of graduation ceremony. Like, what's in the background? It looks like maybe a curtain. The first thing I thought was some municipal building. But if that's not something, isn't that like impersonating a cop? Isn't that like are they trying to like do jokes like fuck? You know, this is a you know, like a Cartman type character that dresses up with the full police uniform and goes around saying "respect my authority." I mean, is that what? Explain it, because they just say like, "Oh, it's a cadet program." A cadet program for the cops? Is that a thing? I mean, because it looks like that's a cop. It looks like that's a lady cop.
Chris, let's get into the race war aspect, because the
Sure.
transgender mind warp deception mockery. I mean, that we could go about that for hours, because when you see it, you can't unsee it. Like, because
Yeah.
I was just taking it face value, like, well, oh, this is the younger version of the alleged shooter. It looks like it. Wait, oh, this doesn't look like it, because that's the thing. Women tend to have more neoteny, so they carry their childlike features later into age. So you could have completely a non-minor woman and say, "Oh, this is just like a preteen boy who's on the heavy side." But regardless, it's fake on
Well,
so many levels. It's staged on so many
I mean,
levels.
I have some
But go
personal
ahead.
experience in this sort of thing. I knew some folks back in high school where there was this one girl at this point. Now she's you know, my age, so mid 40s woman. I guess more than mid 40s woman, who was dating a a woman pretending to be a boy, and you know, so I've seen this before. It's not a new phenomenon. It's just it's more like widely accepted because, you know, we're being forced into referring to these individuals by, you know, what's public. Like, you know, could this be, you know, an alternative identity this person is taking now? And it's also like, you know, it's the easiest way to I guess show somebody that something's a complete fraud. Everybody right off the trail of anything, because, you know, they could disappear Kyle Rittenhouse and have, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse go to jail and have nobody go to jail because they're looking for a 17-year-old boy and it's really a 26-year-old woman. I mean, it's like, you know, any other kind of disguise. It's like when
Matthew Collins has a
Astrology.
good
Go ahead.
Matthew Collins
Go
has
ahead,
a
Cliff.
good comment. Why would he have on a full uniform if he was just a cadet?
Right. I mean, that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like the badge, the special kind of hat. You know, it looks like. Yeah, look, to me that gets to like it's a crime to impersonate a police officer. Are they now saying like, oh, you can impersonate a police officer? You know, I mean, I don't really like, you know, get into this sort of thing, but like even something like, you know, like wearing something of an organization, like that's a lot less than like there's no law about that, but there's a law about like not impersonating a police officer. And so like did they just say like,
So
oh,
yeah,
you're cool with us so you can, you know, do the best thing about having a job is like you
I
that you're
think
a
that's
police
kind
officer?
of what that's that's the thrust they're trying to put out there. It this will segue into the race war psyop element. So this video of Wendy Kyle Rittenhouse talking to some camera guy and how they're policing and blah blah blah, essentially vigilante slash neighborhood watch. and then there's cops and like tanks and MRAPs throwing them water bottles. So it's and CNN is showing this footage, and so the narrative they're trying to weave is that the cops are buddy buddy with the white supremacist transgender female undercover cop.
And where was it? Where was it? Okay, I think we can see some binding there, and like the way the stance, it's hiding. There's ways to stand,
like
but look at the outline there.
These look like people I would see in the Castro in San Francisco.
I mean, it's real. Like every town, probably, like you say, more so in San Francisco, but every town, everywhere. It's like how can you not pick out a man wearing a dress, and like, has like whatever, implants, or is putting something in, or what? You can tell it's still a man. It's still a man. You can tell. Especially when we've been shown how to discern. Everybody's been shown. I mean, because like I said, it's been many years since I was in high school, but this sort of thing came out. How many years since the movie Boys Don't Cry? It's a phenomenon. It happens in every city, in every single town, and now it's mainstreamed.
I mean, they're making a live action version of Mulan.
What do you mean?
So Mulan, the Disney movie, the animated Disney film where the main character is a girl who dresses up as a man to get into the military. They're making a live action version of that.
Oh yeah, good point. I didn't know what. I've heard of Mulan. I just didn't know what the plot was. But okay, I mean, well, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. And so is that? I mean, we'll. It seems ingenious, but it also seems, because it's out there. It's out there enough. I made 2 videos, Cliff. And the first video, I'm not sure, I haven't checked in a while. I'm guessing it had, 4,000 to 5,000 views on Live Leak, probably several thousand views up on a YouTube channel where it is still up, and on a BitChute channel, I'm guessing near 1,000 for the first video. So nobody's really, nobody wishes to get into the details. Some get, look, yeah, that's right, Chris. Yeah, it seems this, womanly features, blah, blah, blah. But the other side just starts saying like, oh, no, they just go, oh, I went to high school with her. That's her maiden name. Which is her maiden name? For who? Whose maiden name? Okay. So like, it's like immersed already in the abstract, but nobody's saying like, oh, this is easy to explain. This is what happened. That's why Kyle Rittenhouse is not listed in the public records along with Wendy Rittenhouse Lewis. That's why all of these questions nobody's explaining it. You see what I'm saying? And this is,
and that's how it always is.
Right. But I just wish to like get this point home, because when folks start questioning themselves and going like, oh, we'll never know what's really going on, when everything, like you said, with the genealogy, when it starts matching up, when the genealogy starts matching up with the genetic testing, then you have a clue. And when the claims debunking the accusations, I should say, debunking our claim, our original claim, all start falling by the wayside. And when we were like, hey, we're for sure this is a woman, and then we're not getting any contradictory information after that point. We're getting only information confirming that. So, and that their way of attack is not by saying, not by saying, hey, here's where you're wrong, dude. Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to trust what the government's saying, but hey, I want to lead you in the right direction. And or, hey, I don't care about you. I wish to lead the public in the right direction. So I'm not just going to say you lose the internet, you're the stupidest person, you're the most retarded person in the world, blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying, if I'm so retarded, explain how I'm retarded. Nobody will do that. Nobody. So again, it doesn't matter what anybody else sees, what anybody else knows. I mean, it doesn't matter how many folks we reach. Maybe folks are just, that's the point. 99.9% of the population is just too freaking stupid to function. Or they just don't pay any attention to anything, which means stupid in my mind.
So I want to bring it back to the race war element, where essentially they're trying to say that, see, the cops won't stop this 17-year-old white kid who killed two people, even though there's no evidence of that. But they'll gun down a black man, go into his car, and it's like, well, so even if we put the verified fact that both of these, certainly the Kyle Rittenhouse incident, or stage media events, if we put that by the wayside, I mean, is it really that much of a surprise that the cops aren't doing anything to someone who they were filming, they were seen with on camera, like what couldn't have been more than an hour prior? So, I mean, I guess that's part of the narrative that, hey,
let's unpack that a little more. Okay, so I have gone to these sort of events armed for years and years. I've displayed how the cops will cart in these actors walking around with guns. You've seen me confront them many times, Cliff. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I don't even want to put a number on there. Lots and lots and lots of individuals have seen that happen. So I know what a made-for-TV interaction looks like with the cops. And I know that they're always in contact. They lead them in. My favorite was the new Confederate States of America, led by, I don't even remember that other guy's name, but he's like the president of Confederate States of America. And then there's self-proclaimed Homeland Security snitch Tara Brownell, and these actors are being brought in with their AR-15s and their AK-47s, and they're being surrounded by, I don't believe, actual Virginia State Capitol police officers, because they're all black guys, and they're surrounding them on their bikes. And anyway, I think that they switch uniforms and they do all sorts of other stuff. But I mean, that's made for TV. This is made for TV plus 100. With that interaction between Wendy Rittenhouse, aka Kyle Rittenhouse, and the cops. So if and it also what's with
the gloves?
Yeah, what's with the gloves? I guess she planned. I mean, that to me that like if I was on the other side and like didn't know any, I'm like, yeah, that's somebody premeditated. So like, but again, it doesn't make any sense because it's everybody's videotaping everybody else. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like the McCloskeys. They're back in the news, and folks glossed over. I didn't really hear anybody else say anything about the fake gun except for us. I'm not hearing the the internet cacophony of investigators saying like, hey, we told you this was fake, and now it turns out this is a fake gun that was used in another case. I mean, are they using special guns? And they didn't say it was a fake gun. They said it couldn't be operated. It was disabled, a disabled gun. So is that some part of the trick? I mean, again, it's just why no questions? Why just accepting everything, and why skip
Wait, are
over
we
this?
talking about the current Kenosha event with a non-operational gun? Was that this event or a separate?
No. This was
event?
the McCloskey event. The two lawyers in the mansion with the weird costumes.
The married couple. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Sorry.
I had not known what their names were. I had not known what their
Okay.
last names were until now. They've just become a meme.
I think
But
that's
continue.
their last names. If I'm not, somebody please correct me, because that's the rules. We operate under old York constitutions of 926. So basically, the rules are it's good rules. So like all this stuff with infiltrated masonry, like call it something different or don't call it masonry or whatever anybody wishes to call it, but if somebody's wrong, it's your duty to correct them in a cheerful way. So like, don't be a dick about it. But yeah, I think that's what they're called. And what, that's the thing. Like when nothing seems to check out about these stories, then and folks maybe even take that on board and they go like, okay, yeah, I did see that was verified as and talking about the case of the two lawyers in St. Louis who brandished their guns on Black Lives Matter protesters. It threw the court case into flux because they had to test the guns, and one of them was inoperable and used as evidence in a different case. Now, is that what happens to the records? Because there was a big controversy here in Richmond and all over. It happens every jurisdiction, but that there was like, folks that were not police officers that were given access to evidence that they were not supposed to have access to. Stuff disappeared, guns, drugs, etc., etc., etc. So why would anybody believe any of this stuff that they're hearing, especially when they're seeing with their own eyes it doesn't check out? And then the more we get into it, the more evidence it is that everything's a fraud. And what's that background noise?
I'm not sure. It sounds like a little bit of squeaking, I guess. So I have these headphones in. I don't know if
somebody
that's
talking or like a TV or something. It's definitely not squeaking or
okay.
anything. You're coming through.
Okay,
Yeah.
that might be the TV. Let me see if I can move.
All right, but anyway, yeah. What do we have to? I mean, I guess this is the only point of what we do. Why we say we don't care. We don't care about anything else. Other than
Okay, so Buck Brown is asking me to mute my line. Okay, but I can't mute, so I'm not sure why individuals don't comprehend this, but I can't.
Right. So don't worry about it. Yeah, you can't mute it. It's an issue with Facebook. Hopefully we'll work it out. Honestly, I'm just happy that we're able to broadcast, with this cracked screen. But in any event, what we're saying is operative, because what they're saying now is we're going to remove militia rights in America, and even if these guys who are out there like, okay, what's this Kenosha Guard? Let's go to this. Let's really investigate these these operations, because like if this is an organized event, the first thing I would do, and like it's the first thing that we do with our church, we say like, hey, I mean, I guess Wendy, if she hadn't done this, could be a member of the People of God Church because she's reached the age of 26. But we say like, hey, like if you're under the age of 26, we don't want to have anything to do with you. You might do something stupid or crazy. So like this Kenosha guard, when they're out there just going like, hey, anybody show up and bring your gun, and like we don't need to know anything about you. We got 3,000 RS. So like come on down with your guns and we'll all regulate together with the cops. You got to go like, hey man, like these guys, they're not the militia. They're not anything, like at all. I mean, that don't show up is what you tell folks. And you tell the owners of the business, hey, you freaking secure your business. I mean, hey, they can secure their business if they want to. Remember all the Koreans on their roofs with automatic weapons? Yeah, their stuff didn't get looted. So like, it's not up to some Yahoo, especially, is this person a police officer? And if they're a cadet and they went through some kind of training. Is somebody yelling in the background, Cliff?
No, that's just the TV. Hold up, I'll see if I can get it turned down. I'll be back.
Okay, all right. So getting back to this, is this person a police officer? Police officers? What organization are they a part of? All this other stuff. Who's the person that they're with? That, this individual was seen with another human being. Who is with them? No answers, just, oh, it was this person. They're militia. We got to get rid of militia. And what I'm saying is everybody's the militia, and it is not my responsibility to go out on the street and secure somebody else's private property. We're all going to lose all of our rights. We're all losing all of our rights. And so like I'm not going to risk my rights for somebody else. Cliff, you back? Cliff, I was just discussing the fact that that there are leaderless groups calling themselves things, and they are taking it into their hands to secure someone else's private property, and that's not how things work. That's not a thing. That's not that hasn't happened in the past. Folks secure their own businesses. And if the police can't secure this, and we know that they're starting the problem, no matter what anybody thinks, we all know that the so-called police, the so-called government officials that call themselves the police, that they are starting the problem. Now, we know that they're starting the problem in more exact fashions, i.e. they're doing the burning, they're doing the looting, they're inciting the crowds, they're inciting the riots, etc., etc. But in any event, we know it's the police that are doing that. So if the police cannot maintain the public order, and they're doing things like going around and harassing and kidnapping individuals like myself, and that's what they spend their time doing, why is everybody such a dum-dum that they can't figure out that they're the enemy, they're the standing army, they're the ones that are causing all of these problems? And if it is the problems in these neighborhoods, man, don't buy property there. Or yes, you got to identify yourself and say, I'm going to protect my property. I'm called Chris Dorsey. I'm always armed, and my property is always protected. Why can't they do it? Yeah, if somebody's breaking into a place and they're looting, you secure your property. And if for most folks at that point, it just means insurance. So I'll tell you what will stop this, because I'll tell you it's the insurance industry that runs a lot of the government. The insurance industry starts adversely affecting them. They're the only ones that are going to stop it. That's why you have insurance. If insurance doesn't pay out, or you don't feel like going through insurance, or whatever reason, then you can secure your property, but it's not up to 17-year-olds. And that's not what happened anyways. I mean, I'll tell you another thing, Cliff, that is really sinister about this operation. It becomes so hard to even discuss the first aspect of this when everybody just takes one side or the other. I mean, it's so funny. I went over to have a beer with my neighbor, and he was hanging out with another family member, and we were sitting there drinking a beer, and of course that's the topic of discussion. That's what everybody's talking about. And one of them says, well, hey, you know what? If it wasn't a white guy, they wouldn't have let him just walk by. Like, that's not what happens. It's not like shots go off somewhere and the police just let certain folks walk by, especially with a gun. I mean, that's not what happens in normal life. But these folks, they have it in their brain that
I don't get
it's like the Saturday Night Live skit. Hold on, let me finish, because like this is how sinister this is. They think it's like the Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live skit where he dresses up like a white guy, and that as soon as black people leave, white people just give free stuff to each other. That when black people get off the bus, there's a party and dancing girls come out and sit on all the men's laps, and champagne's popped. I mean, that's what folks think. They don't have any freaking idea. It is, and I'll tell you, it's folks who identify as minority groups in the United States that buy this, and usually they haven't been around America that long. And I'm not saying all of them buy that. I'm not saying all of them buy that.
Well, yeah, I'm saying the more fresh off the boat they are, the more they're going to buy into it. But a lot of white people, white leftists, I guess, seem to buy into it. But a lot of people just nod their head and really don't buy into it and go along.
That's
what I don't get is why can't most individuals just see? Why can't they just see, hey, here's an event where a black guy was shot, and then literally a day after, doesn't everyone think, oh, this is a little too convenient to fit with this narrative they're pushing? Like, is that just too high level for most individuals?
What I don't get is like they know it's not true, but it's like they want to believe it. They want to.
That's the other thing I don't comprehend. Why do individuals wish to believe that say the school shootings? Why does an individual wish to believe someone lost their mind and gunned down multiple people? There you go.
The Holocaust. I mean, that's an even better example, where it's like folks get angry, and I'm like, well, yeah, definitely less than 1 million Jews were killed during the Holocaust, and it's a lot less than that too. But certainly, you can't even make a rational statement. And I I like Hitler's rhetoric. I must say, I like Jerry Seinfeld's rhetoric. I like name some other like popular like Billy Joel's rhetoric. I like his. I like his rhetoric. I like his. I like his. I like his steez. I like his style. I like I like everything about that guy's music. I like the band Rush, Geddy Lee. I like his rhetoric too. It's it's melodic. It's powerful. It's enjoyable to listen to. I like their rhetoric. It sounds good, but yet at the end of the day, I know not to trust it, or I know it's a subversion of something else. That's my opinion. That is absolutely my opinion. And that things don't just happen by accident. They don't just happen where it's like, oh yeah, it was just this one guy, Hitler, and then 6 million Jews were killed. And no, it's not like that. There's like, it's like a subversion of a powerful force. So like, at the end of the 19th century, there was this, Volkish movement in Germany where they got into astrology, esoteric thinking, vegetarianism, farming, organic farming, and basically that they started becoming like healthy and were rejecting like 20th century things like vaccines and or I guess modern at that time. And it was late 18th or late 19th century, early 20th century, and that they were into all this stuff that's basically good. And when I say good, I mean, the Bible's astrotheology, in the most important parts, astrology and astronomy are at the heart of the important events of the Bible. Cliff, would you say that that's a fair statement?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So again, we get into this and then so like the average person would go like, "Oh, these Germans who are into like nature and venerating their past and astrology and the study of history, they were all crazy." But then these other guys came along after that, and they made it crazier. So there's this guy talking, and he's talking about Himmler, and he's talking about how Himmler created a castle where they were going to recreate the New Templar order, and this was well after the early 20th century, secret societies that were allegedly anti-Masonic, that were like called the German Order, but they were Masonic in ritual and theme. So if one wants to call Arthurianism and Templarism Masonic, or if they want to say that Masonry is just Arthurianism because one really got its start after the other, and Arthurianism goes back further than the 1717 creation of the York Rite Lodge, and it really goes back even to the time of the 926 Old York constitutions, or at least Arthurian type legend and myth, which goes back even further than that, because that really is the myth of Jesus Christ, because it's the same myth, the Sun King figure and the 12 disciples, King Arthur and his 12 knights of the Round Table. And so there's this commentator saying like, but they took this and he made this insane idea that he was going to meet at a round table with himself and his 12 top officers. I was like, okay, where's the insane part? It seems like that's what they all do. I mean, they tell us now that the mainstream Mossad financed uh, conspiracy researchers or alleged alternative researchers. That's what they tell us. They tell us that there's 13 families. 12 plus 1 is always a lucky number, maybe, and that's why they say it's unlucky because of the 13, because it's really 12 plus 1. The way they do it, it's 13, but it's 12 plus 1. Just like Cliff, are we getting too abstract? It doesn't matter. I'm just explaining things. I want to show you something. And this used to be my painting shirt back when I had that as one of my vocations. Not like a painter, like like an artist, but like a painter, like a painter of like houses and other sorts of things for my own businesses and also later to earn money. So we talk about Ka and the Kappa Alpha Order, and I was initiated into the Kappa Alpha Order by the individual that I was talking to in the last broadcast, Richard Hobbs. And so I started telling him about this. I'm like, hey, do you know this about the Kappa Alpha Order? And that the Kappa Alpha Order is just an offshoot of something earlier that was called Old Kappa Alpha, and the Alpha Society that was called, had all these different variations of the K and the A letters together. It was called Ku Klux Adelphon. No, I had no idea. Yeah, well, it was also the Southern Order, just like the Kappa Alpha Order, and it was also called the Kappa Alpha Order and the Old Kappa Alpha Order. No, I had no idea. Oh yeah, and that's from a previous organization allegedly called the Knights of the Golden Circle, and allegedly it's from another organization that is much more I guess sinister in today's society, but that was not founded by Nathan Bedford Forrest at all. So you might know what I'm talking about, but it talks, it's all always numbers. And my number in that organization, whereas his number was number 1, and this is all public, so I'm not telling you anything that's secret. And my number was number 5. Number 5. Number 5 is a key number to all secret societies, this being no different. And what's the key number of all key numbers is 555. So we get the 555, and I've got the 555 on my Kappa Alpha intramural shirt, and I'll show you this. This is from, I don't know, 24 years ago, something like that. Yeah, probably 23 or 20 or 24 or 25 years ago. Hold on. I'll show you the 555. And so this is about the numbers. So, Cliff, you're going to have to help me out. All right, are you seeing it? You know the equations. You see the number?
5. I do not see. I just see the curtain right now.
Oh, the curtain. Oh, hold on. It's because I need to. Yeah, I hit the. Okay. So you see the number.
I see text. I almost see the number, but it's above the text.
In any event, hold on. We're gonna
Something
try to...
1. Is it 81?
No, it's 15.
15. Okay, 15. Okay, 5-1 or 1-5.
Okay, 1-5. I mean, it might be showing it backwards.
Yeah, can't see it. It's below the numbers.
It's below the numbers. How about now?
Yeah. It's close. I can see the numbers, but I can't. You couldn't actually make out what they are.
Okay, tell me when you can. Better, worse?
Up. You need to go up. Up, a little more
More?
up. A little more, yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, there you go. Yep,
Okay.
1.5. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5. 5.55. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know anything about that stuff back then. You know, and ironically, that the office is the number 5 office. That's what I was. The number 5, which is historian, which basically I just played out how, and how that was the case in the last episode when we were talking about um, uh, the Kappa Alpha Order and the FBI, and then we were specifically talking about what was the guy's name? G-Man. I'm gonna have to look this up. So I appreciate everybody being patient with me as far as getting all this stuff out. Let's see. Let's see. G-Man. G-Man. What was that guy's name? Let's see. But we're gonna get into this because it's very important. Junior G-Man. Junior G-Man. South Carolina. All right. And this is about regarding Hermann Goering. Melvin Purvis and Hermann Goering, Goring, however it's pronounced, Goring, I've heard them both, meeting. And Goering was the founder of the Gestapo. And Purvis was a high-ranking FBI agent. And so we just go through and talk about like all these combinations of esoteric society and what's really going on. What was the purpose during World War II for the Americans to get involved? And why I say I'm skeptical of Hitler is because the ultimate trick in all deception is to take on one's enemy's identity and to blend in with them and to subvert their means. Like that's it. Like, watch any freaking Jean Le Carre, series or
Well,
documentary or anything like that. That's what happens to infiltrate any undercover cop in the history of anything of all time. Infiltrate. What did Adolf Hitler do? Adolf Hitler was an agent for the Soviet government at the time. Cliff, we used to talk about this a lot, but we're going to get back into it because it's like all coming full circle.
I mean,
And
it even states in like IMDb of all places that after the end of World War I, he was like a counterintelligence operative tasked with infiltrating political groups that were critical of the current Soviet-style government. So,
right.
I, if they're putting it on the freaking IMDb page, I mean, what else is there really to say at this point? I mean, does everyone just really wish to drag, excuse my language, I was going to say something else, but drag feet figuring it out? Does everything have to be just spelled out like letter by letter? Can people not
It's
like,
never,
oh,
yeah, it's never will be. It will never be spelled letter for letter. We're spelling it for you letter for letter. As far as putting a lot of the stuff out there about, hey, how do you know this stuff? Well, study astrology, ask God properly in your prayers, which is just, concentration, meditation, thankfulness. Not, and we're not thankful for the freaking garbage and the warfare, and we don't accept it. We don't accept, malice. and we're not thankful for malice, but we're thankful for, guidance and, what the bounty that God has provided for all of us. But astrology, astronomy, I mean, it's just like basic stuff. It's basic stuff when they go, okay, so like, if you really, want to know certain things, like what do you do? Like, back before there were clocks everywhere, you look outside. You go like, oh, okay, looks like it's about, I don't know, 8:30 in the morning. By the way the sun is, you can tell what, when the harvest is coming by the moon. I mean, so like all this stuff where they go like, oh, that's evil. You don't even really want that. You can tell if the air quality is decent by looking up in the sky and seeing if you can see stars. So, oh, no, you don't want to do that. Oh, it's the basis of all religion. No, it's wrong. It's bad. It's like you got to be a dum-dum not to know these things. And they go like, oh, that stuff's crazy. Because that's all the, the 12 Knights of the Round Table. It's the freaking zodiac and the sun. Come on. So it's just, so where was it that they were like wrong or incorrect? Because like, what's that guy that does the show? He's on Portlandia. He used to be on Saturday Night Live. He has that mock documentary show from Saturday Night Live. I'm gonna find this. But the reason I'm saying this was this guy's ancestor. I think it was his grandfather, but it could have been his great grandfather. But I think it was his grandfather. Japanese spy. But in any event, this guy was some sort of famous, like, interpretive dancer at Fred Armisen. Fred Armisen's grandfather was some sort of famous Japanese interpretive dancer, famous to this day. Fred Armisen's grandfather, paternal grandfather. And he was doing a tour of Germany during the war, and the whole time he was like a spy, but not for the Imperial Japanese. He was allegedly a spy for like the Americans or the Allied forces, allegedly. But I just want to prove this point because he was in Germany during the war, and he married and lived in Germany with a German woman. Which, when you listen to all these folks out there who talk about like, oh, these folks, they killed everybody who wasn't white and blah, blah, blah. No, they sanctioned a marriage between a Japanese person who actually was not Japanese at all. Turns out he was ethnically Korean, but nonetheless, Koreans and Japanese, they're related fairly closely ethnically because of their proximity to one another. That's basically, where you start figuring out like, well, how did this group start breeding with that group of people? Proximity, like, that's how it works. In any event, so, I mean, all these facts, verified facts, they fly in the face of this rhetoric that makes folks just, I hate Nazis. Okay, what's a Nazi? A National Socialist, because they didn't call it, that was a pejorative thought up by some Jewish guy. So, like, I'm talking to somebody, and it is about a special website that they've got. And this person I'm in contact with through her friendship with Jessica Collins. And so, I get a call from this woman who is Jewish, and she starts, oh, this and that, and you don't want to affect Jessica's case by because you're an anti-Semite. And I'm like, nah, I'm not an anti-Semite, and the Jews don't have anything to do with Semitic things. And I started explaining it, but I'm like, man, I'm not going to explain myself to you. Anybody, I know what I'm talking about. Anybody who knows anything, even if it's 2 or 3 people, it doesn't matter. I know what I'm talking about. I'm correct. So you can move on from that. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do anything to, hurt Jessica's case, but that doesn't have anything to do with what we put out about Jessica Collins and the fact that she asked us to do that. And we did that for her. Clifford, you and I have done things that overtly, particularly Jessica Collins asked us to do, and it does not have anything to do with our correct interpretation of different genetic groups of human beings.
It has as much to do with our interpretation about genetic groups of human beings as it has to do with either of our preferences for people of said genetic groups.
Right. Yeah. I was talking to somebody who's gonna and is going to help us out, Justin, and that's what I was saying. I'm talking to these folks. I don't hate them. I get along fine with them. I mean, there's lots of video evidence, of me speaking with ethnic Ashkenazi at the AIPAC thing. We have a fine conversation. I'm just not going to back down from it. I'm like, what? How does this happen? How does this happen? This woman, pleads poverty, but yet she has all this access to all of these nice things. So, well, I had to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Yeah, and to get things that are a fraction of the worth of what you have, I have to do this, 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 and 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 that, and that, and the other thing. So you just like, oh yeah, it just happens. I get all these nice, great things. Oh, I'm not Mossad. My husband was in the IDF and he was sub-Mossad, but I'm not Mossad. I'm not Mossad. And oh, I just happened to get this. Oh, I wasn't trying to get this website. I was trying to get a different website. And this woman, she just didn't want it anymore because it was too much trouble than it was worth. And blah blah blah. And bottom line, blah. It happened. That's what they. It's like, okay. Just like this neighbor I used to have, who had a, she was a, she used to go around the neighborhood, and she's associated with Karen Melton Stewart, and she lived across the street from me. You can possibly see her house in the video with the Secret Service. She bought a house for like $300,000. Her sister started a neighborhood association, which basically was the freaking Trojan horse that pushed through all of the bad changes the city was doing to this like nice and somewhat affordable, nice neighborhood that was like an island in the city of Richmond. Not too expensive, not too fancy, but very nice, and they just crushed it. And this other woman who says that her what was her name? Gutowski. Nadja Gutowski. But basically she says it doesn't work, doesn't do anything, has a full staff of folks at her house, redid the entire inside of the house, paid over $300,000 for it, constantly having new cars and so on and so forth. And nobody knows, making trips in and out of the country. How did she get her money? She tells everybody she got her money because she got raped. So like I'm not definitely not minimizing rape, but rape victims don't get millions of dollars. Victims, they don't go around the world. We know about what happens with rape victims. They're usually raped again and again and then killed. Or they survive and they stay quiet about it and nothing comes of the case, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They don't get millions and millions of dollars. But in any event, strange things started happening around this house, including this woman knocking on all the neighbors' doors at 11 p.m., telling everyone that the big earthquake is coming. This was not long after the East Coast earthquake that happened about 27 miles west of where we were at that particular time, in Louisa, Virginia. And that they shut down the Washington Monument, that's height is 555 feet. But in any event, this woman knocked on everybody's door, telling everyone she felt it, the big earthquake is coming, blah, 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 blah. And the next thing we know, I see her dog being delivered to her door by U.S. Marshals and attempt to find out what's going on with that. There seemed to be some kind of drug operation. And in any event, this woman says she was Palestinian. Her last name is Gutowski. Again, these folks are crazy. And one thing they're not crazy about is having access to lots of money and nice things. So, I guess that was it. She later was associated she had been associated with Karen Melton Stewart, who is a clear NSA agent. Clifford, you and I and others verified that. Again, how was it? Well, she was, putting out pro-Trump and Putin propaganda. Okay, well, that's just whatever. Okay, well, she was,
and she's getting paid by the NSA.
She's still getting paid by the NSA, and also, she's on the Jeff Rentz show. Also, she on a broadcast urged ourselves and others to confront these individuals that she gave out addresses for, to go to them with guns in Columbia, Maryland. You can't, the gun freedom is non-existent in Maryland pretty much. And force them to open up their trunks, pull them over on the road, go to their homes, put them under arrest, force them to open up their trunks, and force them to open up their sheds where they are having these mind control and electromagnetic warfare machines that are targeting Karen Melton Stewart. Was that her name? It was Karen Melton?
Yes, yep. And to bring it back to the warped race war narrative, there's some idiots who think, oh, if I'm a white guy, I could probably do that and get away with it. They're trying to make it seem like if you're of a certain demographic, you can get away with outlandish actions when that's not true. If anything, you're probably more likely to fall prey to the police and the other sort of so-called terrorist law enforcement.
Only if you're playing a character in a made-for-TV news mockumentary. Because
that's the
you
only
might be
way
able
you'll be
to get a whopper. You might be able to walk around, get arrested with no handcuffs, and get a whopper like Dill Ann Stormroof, who had his own personal photographer, who had great sensibility. I mean, I watched a documentary about Slim Errants, and like the Dill Storm roof was like quintessential. It was like, I respect the artistry of the artist in the in the Dill Storm roof. Um, what would you call that? Would you put that in uh, uh, like a modern day magazine? It's like not a thing anymore. A coffee table book. Would you put the Dill Storm Roof collection? You it was. I mean, hair hair was perfect. I mean, it's a strange hairstyle, but the hair was perfect. It's not like my hair all the time, acting all crazy. Very, very distinct Bob Bowl haircut on Dill Storm Roof. You know, it really captured the soul and essence of that character. I mean, you see where I'm going with this, right, Cliff? I mean, do they think
Yeah.
that we're all that stupid? And that's what I'm saying. They don't. This is like,
has he been
the key part is
executed?
their mockery. Right.
Because
Right.
I'm
Has he
wondering,
been
like, because
executed? Is he still getting
he's supposed
whoppers
to
in
be up for
jail?
execution. He's supposed to be up
Right.
for
And also,
execution.
think about it. Like, listen. Let me finish something, Cliff, because I've been moved around by the 5-0 before, and it's been rough. It's resulted in injury, including times when I had to be hospitalized. So the idea that and this is for exposing police corruption and exposing the corruption of the bosses of the police, not for opening fire on a group of innocent individuals in a church. This is for, videotaping and publicizing criminal actions of the government, including the police.
Enforcing the law. This is what they do to you for enforcing the law.
But let me get to it, because it's all like just signs and signals and mockery. So they stop at Burger King, right? Home of the Whopper. What's a ridiculous, what do they call a ridiculous story that no one should ever believe?
A Whopper.
A Whopper. Yeah. Is he still getting Whoppers in jail? Is he still involved in eating Whoppers? I mean, so when they roughed me up, gave me rough rides, injured me to the point where I had to be hospitalized, and then injured me other times when I didn't have to be hospitalized, because it's like not my choice. But I know that they're not going to clean seeping, gaping wounds in the disease-infested Richmond City Jail. And I had to tell the piece of garbage nurses and doctors at the Virginia Commonwealth University Medical Center, specifically which wounds to clean, and to make sure that they did it. But anyway, when I was I was in shackles. You can't eat a Whopper while you're in shackles. So again, if you believe this nonsense, if you think that white people can do this, and white people, look at the numbers. Higher percentages of white people killed by the police, double, triple the numbers of any other ethnic group in the United States. So again, flake off. If you're going to tell everybody, oh, I don't like Hitler, I don't like the Nazis, I'll say, yeah, I agree with you. But not because of their rhetoric, because they had to use the rhetoric as a shield, as a tool to destroy what was already in the hearts and the minds of the German people. And this wasn't just a pan-Germanic movement of the Völkisch movement in Germany. Their goal was that worldwide. And if we're going to say who's the master race as far as the master of these ceremonies? Well, the master race as far as the master of these ceremonies, this theater of war, there is a master race, and it's not the German people. It's the Ashkenazi. And what these folkish movements said, they said, okay, because of the way these individuals are, these are the eternal enemies of the German people. We study the German people and we go back in time. Oh yeah, they were great warriors. Oh, they were noble. They were stewards of nature. They, they never shied away from a fight. They never used deception. Oh, okay. Oh, who's the eternal enemy? Oh, that would be the opposite. Those who operate in the opposite of that. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. So how are they going to beat that idea, which is so obvious in everybody's minds and eyes? They only can do that through infiltration of that movement. So when you have infiltration of that movement from the very beginning, this is your assignment. You are an order follower. Your assignment is this. Now, some have argued, well, maybe he started off as an infiltrator, but he was influenced.
He was won over to the cause. This Mischling was won over to the cause of stopping the synagogue of Satan. Is that what I'm supposed to believe?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at, and I was trying to get out at the same time, like a Facebook censor, or like a YouTube censor, where they see all this information and then all of a sudden they go like, yeah, definitely the Jewish question, yeah, definitely false flags, yeah, definitely transgender, agenda, yeah, definitely Bank for International Settlements and Federal Reserve Bank run everything, yeah, definitely. So like, yes, that's true. That's true, but it is, like I said, with everyone else who says, like Tuscan, like Bob Tuscan on the show. What can I do? You can't do anything. You can pay reparations to the German people first, because who are the Americans? Before all of this like Jewish-led directed immigration, well, the Americans were the German people. So when they had this plan for all this nice things, no vaccines, healthy vegetarian living, stewardship of the environment, wholesome family, dinners, and living off the land, an agrarian lifestyle. And the Jewish speculators and the Ashkenazi speculators, the fake Jews, they go like, yeah, but we do usury. We are speculators. We are masters of the city. Because that's our thing. We don't want this idea going to America, because like we already control America. And we like our clueless German slaves, and really they're not even slaves yet. We wish to enslave them more. Yeah, we got them with the War of Independence and the so-called French and Indian War. We got them with the War of 1812. We certainly duped them with the so-called American Civil War, but it's not good enough. They still know some of their ancient secrets. They still live off the land. They're still agrarians. They're still Germans for the most part, more than anything else. So like, what don't folks get about that? They may be like, pick that side. If you pick that side, yeah, you pick the devil's side, but you pick it. But you can't say that that's not how everything's gamed out. How else would you game it out? How else could you defeat that idea? How else could you take the most powerful symbol and make it something that everyone hates? How else can you do that, Cliff?
Deception and infiltration.
Deception, infiltration, taking a great idea and driving it into the ground. So we study a lot of the Plantagenet kings here on on the militia intelligence report. And so Edward the First, and Edward the Second, and Edward the Third, they were like that was their thing. They were obsessed with Arthurian legend. Edward the Third. Was the so-called New Arthur. I mean, they said that about Edward the First as well. But in any event, they venerated that. They lived their life like like that was their life. That's the model they imitated, because it's a very powerful symbolic archetype or motif. Cliff, you follow me, right? Because we mentioned this earlier. I know you are. That it's the motif of Christ and his disciples, and it's the motif of Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. So they have this numerology. It's astrology because it's representations of astrological events. Michael Tazarian, Ralph Ellis. Just I don't want to explain. I don't want to screw it up by explaining that. But these two individuals opine the facts of these claims at great length, hours and hours. You can find hours and hours of free information about that on the internet from Ralph Ellis and Michael Tazarian, and then you can buy their books too, which is even more and more and more. It's like verification on top of verification on top of verification. So basically, they take these mystical Christian mystical traditions, and what do? They say, oh, it's horrible. Or they gather it all up in one group and call it Freemasonry and say, oh, now we run it, and now we'll turn it into something satanic and for the benefit of the Jews, of the ethnic Ashkenazi and Sephardim. But at the heart is the Christian mysticism that can't be argued with, that is very powerful and is it's just like this kind of spiritual warfare that goes over most folks' heads. And really, that's the key to it. You can't, unless you can have certain things. You can have a lot of money.
Spiritual warfare, speaking of spiritual warfare and having a lot of money, one other news story, I don't even know if I should call it a news story, but one story was this, I think it's an actress named Bella Thorne, allegedly made $2 million in 1 week from her OnlyFans
I saw
account.
that on your page. Yeah.
So again, I'm not sure how individuals just watch what's happening and not, reject society outright and say this needs to change. I just
right.
Don't
I mean, it's almost like it's like they got like the McDonald's like I guess model for pornography now. So like everybody's like got their own franchise. Like it's all the same thing. Like TNA, and then like whatever else like you got to add to that. I guess every American's probably been aware of since they were 9 or 10 years old. That's a formula. So like they got the formula, and then they just go like, okay, let's create 10 million outlets for this, and it's franchised out. So it's still the same folks making all the money at the end of the day. It's still transferring the currency from one bank to another. It's still arbitrage involved. But now everybody can do it. I mean, hell, I mean, you and I have talked. I talked about having a strategy to reach folks. Like, hey, let's just create an account on that page and just, you know, do a regular broadcast. You know, maybe somebody's got tired of looking at freaking,
TNA.
whatever. Right. Yeah. Maybe they need a break. Maybe they're not tired of it. They just need a break from it, and then they'll get back to it later. We wouldn't wish to interrupt that with this kind of information, because it is compelling. I must say, it's it's something that nobody can make the argument is not compelling. I mean, they're not really human.
Matthew Collins is saying they'd shut it down, which, I mean, I'm sure it would be no surprise, but honestly, I think it might be a better shot trying to run an OnlyFans than like an Instagram account at this point. Because I mean,
right, and then it becomes, where we're chasing after these different outlets that we have absolutely no control over, and worried about, oh, well, you can do this, and you can reach these folks, and you can reach those folks, and you can do this, and you can do that, and what do you get for that? Abuse, more what's the word I'm looking for? Espionage,
more infiltration,
a deeper rabbit hole to go, more problems, more things to document about how you're getting censored on this outlet and then that outlet, and then you got to create another one, and then you got all these schmucks going like, oh no, don't do BitChute, do what's the latest one? Not Pandora. What's the thing where it's like Periscope? Is that Periscope? No,
it's another sort of very short attention span. Periscope is like little reels and clips. So
right, that's what TikTok is, isn't it? I mean, I'm not on TikTok. I'm not even on Instagram, because it's like, man, I can't figure this stuff out if I'm worried about, oh, jump on that one. No, jump on this one. Go to that one. Go to this one. Oh, now you're censored on that one. Oh, this one doesn't censor. Oh, this was started by a Russian guy who's a freedom fighter against Putin. Oh, and yeah, he's great. I don't know these guys. I don't know anything about them. I know what we say. What I'm shocked about, Cliff, and we're going to segue, if you're all right with this, back to full circle, Wendy Rittenhouse. How did nobody else pick up on this? I know when the folks are watching and I call the ripple effect in my business the Richard Gutjahr effect. I was the first one to pick out Richard Gutjahr, and I saw everybody watching my stuff because they got it and repeating word for word what I said about Richard Gutjahr. How come there's no Richard Gutjahr effect with the freaking Wendy Rittenhouse? Because
there's something real specific about certain types of information that's kosher to talk about. Because I swear, not even 2 years ago, you Google transvestigation, put in any celebrity you want. There's some rando doing a transvestigation on insert celebrity, Cardi B, what are some more obvious ones? Jennifer Aniston, even male celebrities. But
right,
there's a certain point. Tom Brady, yes. There's a certain point, bam, they were all just gone. And there's still some up, but there was a massive purging of that kind of information.
Pink.
Yeah.
I can
Pink
remember.
Is definitely a dude.
I can remember somebody who used to work with me at a store called Picasso Moon, and we were chit-chatting about something, and she was upset because her boyfriend liked Pink, thought Pink was hot or whatever. And so this was many years ago. And she stated she has the muscle coming up from her hip like a man. Well, I don't know what that muscle is, but like it's very well
Adonis
defined.
belt.
Yes,
Adonis belt is what it's referred to often
yes,
as.
very well defined in men. And so I didn't think anything about it. I was like, pink, hot, I don't know, like, not really to me. And so I'm like, I'm a little older. I didn't really know much about Pink. It was like, she was really popular, and popular musicians, they're usually most popular among young people, younger people, teenagers, and young adults. And so it just stuck with me, but I didn't think at the time Pink's a man. I just was like, I don't give a flying F about Pink or anything about her or what she looks like or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it's something that was pointed out to me decades before this transvestigation thing.
I
So,
mean,
or at least almost 2 decades before it.
there's even suspect footage with Beyonce where she's allegedly pregnant. And that's the other thing, these different outlets like TMZ, it makes me think of freaking Men in Black, where the character, I think it's Kay, played by Tommy Lee Jones, is talking to Will Smith, who's being introduced to the secret government organization known as the Men in Black. And he says, hey, if you look at the tabloids, that's where all the real information is. And they always have
Yeah.
tabloid headlines about this person secretly a man. And so there was this interview of Beyonce, and she sits down and she's pregnant. And you see, as she sits down, you see her pregnant belly deflate, which, if
Yes.
anyone, you know that is not how being pregnant actually works. And then she comes and denies it and says it was all a farce. But it's like, hey, we know what we see.
We
They
saw
didn't
it.
just make
Same thing.
it.
Same thing just happened to Meghan Markle. The same thing happened to
Oh,
Meghan
snap.
Markle. It just happened to Meghan Markle, where her fake pregnancy thing
Deflated.
deflated, or like it moved to it, like it fell down to below her waist or something like that. There's pictures. I posted it on the internet. I mean, that's the other thing. Like they go like, oh yeah, I just don't want to agree with you about this, that, or the other thing, or like they think we haven't thought every aspect of this through. I'm constantly studying this stuff. I see a picture. I know what I see, like the bomb. Again, with the bombing and the missile in at the port of Beirut.
Beirut, yeah.
What do they first say? It's like, well, I everybody sees about. Oh no, that's edited. Okay, well let's look at the other ones. Okay, here are some other ones you can't see anything, and then the only ones you can see anything in, missile. Yeah, there's clearly a missile that comes down, and you see it in every scene. But what can they do? They just say, "Oh, you're crazy." Like you were saying, what were you saying about the fact checkers? Like there was no need for fact checkers.
Yeah, they're the fact checkers. They're not the fact verifiers. They're here to, like, so you know, in basketball, like check him, go check him. It's essentially to guard. So they're fact guarders. They're fact. So when they say fact checkers, don't think of check as in verify. Think of check as in basketball. It's to get in the way of something. They're fact blockers. They're fact guard. They're gatekeepers. The fact checker is code for gatekeeper.
Right. I mean, this stuff is so easy. It's like, what was that one guy who had the different name, who was allegedly dead months before he was shot in Louisiana, and he was a sex offender?
Oh, Alton Sterling. Alton Sterling.
Alton Sterling, aka Alton Sterling's death certificate, mugshot, the same guy, dead years before, and also a sex offender. So that aspect is true with the Wendy Rittenhouse, aka Kyle Rittenhouse, shooting. Is that the victims were, according to public record, sex offenders, right?
Yes. Did you see the video where Wendy opened fire, the non-redacted video?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
To
I
me,
didn't.
I only saw it on Instagram, and to me, it certainly did not look like bullets. It looked like airsoft, some sort of non-lethal or less deadly
The thing I
rounds.
noticed most that stuck out about that was the lack of blood with the head.
So
With the head.
here's the point I made earlier on Instagram is that so she hits three targets. One she appears to hit in the face as they topple over her, and I'm like, what? But so three people are hit, but only one person goes down. Two are hit in the arm or face, and they are able to run away. Whereas the other one, I guess I'm supposed to believe they were shot in the stomach, but they like double over in very theatric fashion. That's what always gives these things away. The actors are never on the same page as to overact or underact. The two of the guys are underacting as they're just able to immediately flee after having lethal rounds delivered to their arms. While one guy, he's not so lucky.
Well, it's
He
probably
bends over.
about them having to like exit the stage. To get
Yes,
off the
yes.
stage, their part is done. Like when an actor, they'll exit the stage and then they'll come back on, at a different scene. Maybe it's to prepare whatever was going to be for the body. What gets me about this, is the fact when the female, like, because you and I recognize the same thing, the feminine hips while running, while this individual was running, the feminine way she held her hands up while she was running, and if the police are there and they're guarding the situation, and at these events, like, I know it's all police, but when I'm doing something around there, they got undercovers there, like walking around, like following me. So like, there's no, and to make
Maybe
sure
that's
that
why
like
they're doing the
no,
whole.
let me finish, Cliff, real quick, to make sure like nothing like kicks off, like somebody doesn't grab my gun, or whatever. They got to be there, or just to be there. They're not. There's not going to be an area where the so-called Kenosha Guard and the Antifa are like, beating each other down. And so anybody who's out there, there's going to be news cameras everywhere. Anybody's going to see exactly what happened as far as who got shot and who did what. So it's no way that somebody's going to walk away, just shoot somebody on the street and then just walk away waving to the cops and then being arrested in another state. There's no way. They would have seen the whole thing.
So I'm wondering if the whole 17-year-old is a part to make it so that it couldn't have been an undercover cop because it was a minor. Although I'm sure it's not unheard of to have minors enlisted for these terrorist organizations.
Okay, let's get into this specifically, because I know that it is. Because I remember snitches in high school used to be employed by the police to go into grocery stores and convenience stores to buy beer. And then they would bust the stores. So that's exactly, what else is that? I mean, there's varying degrees, there's different tasks, but that is high school students used by the police.
So that would be a more comfortable thing that still falls within the synagogue of Satan narrative that Kyle is working for the cop, which I mean that pretty
Well,
much
that's
is
what
the
I was
narrative.
getting to. Yeah, that would be the narrative, that Kyle is working for the cops, and therefore he was doing their dirty work because that's what the cops wanted to do but couldn't do it, and they basically high-fived him on the way out and threw him some water and was like, whatever. Now, like, there's GoFundMe stuff for Kyle Rittenhouse. There's GoFundMe stuff
Which
for
apparently I saw a
apparently
post
shut
saying
down.
Kyle down.
Yeah, they shut that one
Oh,
down.
they probably shut it down because they couldn't verify who Kyle Rittenhouse was.
Well, they or that's convenient to feed into this narrative. That's like when they fixed the basketball and baseball and football games to fit in not just with a
Gambling outcome.
not just with a thank you, with a gambling outcome, but with a popular culture outcome, like UVA in Charlottesville, Virginia, for the first time wins the national championship not long after the riot that took place in their city.
We
Carolina
had the
Black Panthers,
versus the White
playing
Broncos.
versus the White Broncos, and there are other narratives around there. Charlotte's
The New York Jets after 9/11.
No, Giants, not Jets.
Oh, well, I'm thinking football.
Yeah, but yeah, the Jets didn't win a Super Bowl. Jets hadn't won a Super Bowl since like 1969, I don't think.
I feel like there was something with the Jets that season, or
Oh
maybe
yeah,
I'm
there probably
misremembering.
was something with the Jets that season, but
Patriots won. Did they play the Jets on 9/11, or was it just the Jets won the playoffs? So
it was the
Matt Collins says
Patriots. It
Patriots
was like
won.
the Patriots the one that won the Super Bowl after 9/11. That there was some other stuff like with the Ravens and was it the Giants, that was like during 2012, like that Quetzalcoatl symbolism with the feathered serpent and all that other stuff. I mean, all the
And then
symbolism that
there's the Philadelphia Eagles with the Stonesman Douglas shooting with the same like logo, just color shifted.
yes,
Was it?
right,
It's
right,
something
right.
Douglas, but then that was I think the
And
year
then
before the Mossad. I was seeing that.
with the Jewish owners, and
Yeah,
the
Robert
Jewish
Kraft,
MVP.
Julian Edelman.
Yeah, Julian Edelman, the Jewish MVP, and the shirtless Jewish Maroon 5 singer. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody is seriously laughing at this, then like whatever. It does, your opinion is meaningless because there's so many things that I know better about because I have personal unique experience about being armed at these intense events, and I know better than to go to them anymore because anything can happen. But I really don't trust any aspect of these events being as they portrayed them. And did you also see, Cliff? Allegedly, all the shooting victims of Kyle, aka Wendy Rittenhouse, were Jewish. Did you notice that?
Well, I remember people saying they were white, but I noticed they had the names typically that the Ashkenazi take from
Well,
either
one of
Russian
them you
names or
can tell
German
because he's
names.
like, he has like Rosenbaum or something like that.
Rosenbaum, yeah, that was the one who allegedly got shot in the head, but there's no blood. They just have a shirt over his
Right.
face, and
Yeah.
there's no blood on the ground because they're just closing up the wound that well.
Right. And these individuals allegedly have records as sex offenders. And one of them, or maybe one or two of them, has sex offense with minors.
Yeah,
There was
and doesn't that all just sync up? Like, because they try to use that as part of the divisive narrative. Oh, Kyle was just defending himself from rapists. It's like,
right.
well, or Kyle's a cop named Wendy, and these are all compromised criminals under the employ of the cops for a
Right.
made-for-TV movie.
Right. They can get the concept that these politicians are compromised by their association with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but they can't connect the dots that these individuals are let me see. I hope nobody called into the show. Um, but they can't get the concept of these low level sex offenders. And I saw a court case with one of them. Evidently, there was a mysterious death of one of their child, with one of them and their child. Did you see anything about that, Cliff?
No, I just because as far as the background of the alleged victims and crisis actors, I'm just absorbing what I'm hearing people say in the feed as far as like digging for that to
Okay.
verify what
Yeah,
these people
yeah.
are. Yeah.
Evidently, yes. I have seen documentation that asserts this. Now, what the specialty of intelligence agencies is at its height is to be able to fabricate documents. That's their most powerful tool. So that being said, um, yeah, it looks like they're Jewish sex offenders. And so, yeah, half the folks are going, oh, just
Uh,
another dead pedophile. Who
uh,
cares? Instead of going
Speaking of
like,
that, we should at least mention that the Mossad agents of Goyim TV putting up the sign in LA saying Jews want a race war.
yes,
I don't know really what else there is to
is that
say about
news?
that other that yeah that it's the same as the fake blimp from Mossad agent Patrick Little. It's I mean except I don't even know. Maybe this really
Well,
happened since a
hold
news
on,
outlet
hold
is
on, hold on, because I really want to get to that. Because when I started looking up to verify that happened, really the only ones that were reporting on that were
were Times of Israel.
Times of Israel, the Jewish Telegraph, et cetera, and they gave a nice rundown of obviously ethnically Jewish John Benadio. They gave a nice bio for him. They like really big upped him. So there you go, there you go. Like when the SPLC attacks their own operatives. I mean, it's a pretty transparent tactic because nobody else is really reporting on it.
Everyone,
And
because the thing is, everyone's like too. It becomes one of those things where when you see these stories, like, oh, someone's calling out the Jews, it's like, again, as this one girl from my college, woman from my college, like, how can you tell that was staged as opposed to not staged? Well, compare what you see on the news to how people act in real life. Chris, do you see people like typically calling out Zionism and Jewish nepotism, like just in regular
well, let me tell you
conversation, let
something.
alone public displays?
Okay. So these government alliance, and and I went with them, and I think Greg Paris went with us too. But it was this guy named John Rooney, FBI frontman, and Aaron Stutz, who is a former Army Ranger sniper. I liked him personally, but he was definitely an undercover snitch working for the cops. He was a Museum of Virginia police officer carrying a gun, and then became a prison guard at Riverside Regional Jail. He's in pictures, certain pictures I'm with, but is hiding behind signs. Aaron Stutz, John Rooney. But in any event, they were very well versed. So if they may have been, true believers, but they were still certainly government agents. And we went and did that, went and hung up signs that some of them stayed up. Audit the Fed, end the Fed signs. And one of them was hung up not far from where I live right now, a couple miles from where I'm sitting right now, and it said something about Zionist bankers. Some of the other ones stayed up for a month, but that one was down in a couple hours. Nobody said anything. No news reported on all of these banners all around the city of Richmond talking about the Federal Reserve Bank. Some of them were on highway overpasses going directly to the Federal Reserve Bank. So the employees there and the other individuals that work at the downtown state capitol, city hall, all the government buildings around there, including the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, they couldn't miss it. It was gigantic. Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything except for take down the sign saying "Stop Zionist Bankers," which to me sounds, a kind way of protest at this point. So in any event, and it's the same concept. Nobody knows or hears anything about the Jew calling himself the Jew Mexican, calling himself John Manadio. Any other time except for when Brett Favre makes an announcement promoting him, or he's handing out flyers in some random town somewhere, and the local news does a story, and the freaking Times of Israel picks up on it. So I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's folks are stupid. They can't seek out any real information. They don't use Occam's razor. They don't use the Cartesian method. They don't triple verify everything. They don't follow the line. It's like, okay. And so what was this guy doing? This is also the guy when folks go like, oh, you just don't like, I'm like, dude, this guy's crazy. Here's a video of him taking a shit on the street. I'm talking about John Manadio, aka Handsome Truth. He has all this crazy stuff. He has a catchphrase. He doesn't say anything new. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's obviously just a character. And what was this latest thing? He videotaped himself, and he's wearing like bright orange shorts and no shirt. So what? It's like the Laurel Canyon conspiracy on steroids, where I was like, yeah, why would all these guys do like anti-Vietnam War stuff and like, do drugs and wear crazy clothes and get all the older generation to hate them? It's because like they're saying the right thing against the Vietnam War, and they got to take the oxygen away from these straight A college students who are wearing suit and ties, or these priests and nuns that folks would have respect for. And so they got to do that. Same with the Occupy. Why Occupy? Why Occupy Wall Street? Why, I agree with, what they say about the banks. I don't like the banks. Oh, but then they do this. They start little drug camps, and they're raping women. Their place is dangerous. They're destroying property. They're doing this. It's to freaking poison the well. Max, that's enough, buddy. That's enough. Just lie down. Now, all right, well, Max is telling me I guess it's time to end the show. I think my phone's about to go dead anyways. So yeah, we put it out there. I mean, it's successful. Max, stop. You got a
I
freaking
just want to
yeah.
the last thing, some of the fakery of the Wendy Rittenhouse. I don't even know if that counts as a mass shooting. I'm not sure what the actual qualifications are, but the fake stage government event, there was one person who allegedly they were shot in the arm, and then you see they come to them later with the moulage. I don't know if you saw me post that, Chris, but it was a screenshot of one of the videos. And of course, it's supposed to be this big gaping wound, except his clothes are completely spotless. It's
Right.
somehow and it's but individuals wish to say it's real. Although I think individuals who actually believe it or are telling themselves they believe it, I think they're too scared. And there was someone who said, "Oh no, this is definitely real. I blocked this person because I'm certain they're just a shameless liar." Again, you have to be a moral coward or a shameless liar or intellectually incompetent or all of the above.
What I want to know is, like, why is somebody attack? Like, was the first shot the skateboard attacker, or was there shots before then? Because like they showed video of them chasing somebody.
And he
So,
says
like,
he's just shot somebody.
right, but video shows Kyle running away before the shot. The Kyle Wendy running away before the shot, correct?
Yeah, I think the implication is there was someone else they shot prior. I think this might have been although then the numbers don't add up because I saw maybe it was video from a different angle, but it seemed like it was another scene with Kyle Wendy, and I think this is where they shot Rosenbaum.
So yeah, so and Rosenbaum, okay. So again, we know that that there are armed anti-militia folks out on the street. Antifa's armed, and so all this. So like at this point, we know there's like warfare going on in the streets. I mean, there have been 10 murders in Richmond in the past 2 weeks. That's a small city, Richmond, Virginia, about 240,000 people live in the city of Richmond, and there have been 10 murders over the same week, same 2 week period since August 16th to yesterday. So it's a war zone. So what are the rules of engagement? Because like, I wouldn't do it, but if I had a weapon to use on certain human beings, I could, if I had a skateboard to use as a weapon, I should say, and I chose to do it, which I never would, that's a deadly weapon. So okay, especially for a female, being attacked by a male, that's a deadly weapon. Although they say that Rosenbaum is 5'2", that's another way to verify he's Jewish, because there are lots of that, certain European kind of bloodline that makes you real short. Not that I'm tall.
Manlitism.
Yeah. So okay, there's an attack. So how is that not a justified shooting? How's that not justified? So the attack with the skateboard. So I guess the point I'm getting to is like there's got to be rules of engagement because obviously there's war on the street. And so there's rules of war, rules of engagement, just like there's rules of engagement, for lawful shooting among American citizens. So,
well, I mean, there are allegedly rules for sporting events, but when your team breaks the rules, it's okay. When the team you don't wish to win breaks the rules, then it's a violation. So
right,
that's what's going on.
Yeah, right, and there you go. I guess it's like you're saying it's like a team sport. I don't disagree because that no one wants to get into the particulars. That's been the theme over the entire show. No one wishes to get into the particulars. They just wish to say you're crazy. But what else can they say? what else can they do? I mean, there's rules of engagement. These individuals are threatening each other, but the specifics, there's so much in between, and so these are simulated. There's really nobody interested in going out there and gunning down Antifa or fascists, or else they would be doing it. So do it.
There's a lot of people who are real into talking about it. There's a lot of people who are into talking about it on the internet.
Yeah, that's why I don't trust it, because, it's just the simulation that there's really folks out there that are like that are ready to do that. But that's what I've been telling everybody. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. But if you guys wish to talk, you guys wish to act real tough, go out on the street and gun each other down. But I know that that's not happening. That's why I can say that, because it's an empty encouragement, because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And, they're talking to the police beforehand. Right. It's because they work with the police. They were arrested by the police for pretty sick crimes. Yeah, that's why they're doing whatever the police tell them to do. Because they're not in jail, and they should be. But again, the police aren't interested in they're the child rapists. The police have an overwhelming, higher percentage of being child rapists to almost any other vocation. I mean, it's like you can't keep up with it. One can't. It's like every day, a new city, a new place. So they're birds of a feather flock together. You don't see me out there. You don't see me with these stupid so-called tranny militias. You don't see me with a freaking Hawaiian shirt on, referencing freaking, a stupid 1980s sequel breakdancing movie. Birds of a feather flock together, though. All right, Cliff. Yeah, we're gonna close it down. Thanks for everybody watching. Stay tuned. It's a busy time.
Just last thing, as far as the update on the first half of the race war psyop shooting, the Jacob Blake fake stage, not real shooting, where he was airlifted to the hospital. Apparently, the cops have no longer handcuffed him to his bed. Apparently, he had been handcuffed to his bed after being shot 7 times, where the gunshots don't actually match the video, and he was airlifted and no one saw that. He was also apparently handcuffed to the hospital bed, but no longer. The police, I don't know. It's just absurd.
Right. And that's the way to do it. I mean, put out so much information and then change that information and then say it's a fluid situation and we were unaware of this and we're aware of it now, we're unaware of that. I can tell you that I've known almost every single group I've been in, from, organizers as small as 3 individuals, that generally the police have a snitch on the inside and they know everything that's going on. So I don't buy any of it. And it's not like they're so smart or they're so great or they're so whatever. It's like, you got to be dumb not to do this stuff. You got to be dumb not to create and derail an idea or a method that is the only method to your downfall. The only thing keeping the police in power is them derailing a militia movement.
The basics.
Right. It's the basics. The only way the Jews are going to stop this German Völkisch movement is to lead it themselves. Stalin says the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. These are basic concepts. 101. Espionage 101. I mean, I tell everybody, I'm fascinated with the BBC series from, I think, 1978, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Not the movie from 2011. But again, it's the basic stuff. It's the like, how do you infiltrate something? Oh, Adolf Hitler was an infiltrator into this Völkisch movement. Oh, and then he became a convert. Oh, very, very. But along the way, he set the Jews up in business and made the ideas of this Volkish movement garbage from that day forward, just all by mistake. Oh, except for he's a Jew and blah blah blah. Well, then maybe we shouldn't have Jews, ethnic Jews, leading a Volkish movement that is basically saying, "Hey, the Jews are the eternal enemy, and we can't do it." It's like Dave Chappelle's black white supremacist. I mean, it's that dumb. It's that stupid. It's that they're rubbing your face in it that much. I mean, whatever. Whatever. We told you. We told you. We showed you the signs. We gave you the numerology. We told you about the basics of astrology, which is basically if you don't do it and if one ignores it, you're just a dummy. Oh, the moon is out. Oh, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know that God's telling me it's dark out and the light of the moon, and I can tell things from the light of the moon. No, that's bad. That's bad because, yeah, God created everything, but he didn't want us looking up at the moon to tell what time it was, what day of the year it was. He didn't want us looking up at the sun and making, a religious motif out of the thing that gives life to all of us and allows us to have food to eat and a shelter, and when things are safe and less safe. Yeah, none of that. Cliff, does that make sense? Does my sarcasm make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, because that's it. That's it. Other folks can talk better. I was accused last night by that Rosa Max, Freudian slip, of being a good talker. And I said, no, I'm not a good talker. I know what I'm saying. I know lots of things, but I'm not a good talker. I'm a bad talker. Good talkers like Anderson Cooper, that's a good talker. Wolf Blitzer, that's a good talker. They're good talkers in a negative sense. They don't say anything, but they deliver their lines. They use big words. They don't say They don't stumble over their word. I'm not a good talker. I know what I'm saying, and I know enough about communicating that I'm going to get it out there to anyone who's smart enough to know, which is probably a fraction of the population. And I know what I am. So when others make certain claims about their genetics and therefore the benefit that they get from their genetics, I know certain things. And so let's close with Heinrich Himmler, believing he was the reincarnation of King Heinrich of the Saxons. Himmler. So we'll go to that, and we're really pushing it. It's like a Seinfeld episode where they were pushing, where Kramer and the used car salesman were pushing how far they could drive with the car on empty as far as gas goes. King Heinrich. I think it was King Heinrich. Anyway, leader of the SS, Heinrich Himmler. He was a cultist. Yeah, Henry the Fowler. So that's basically one of the first kings of Germany. Also an ancestor of mine, obviously. And Heinrich Himmler thought he was a reincarnation of that guy. I definitely believe in reincarnation. I believe it's been verified. Now, what levels do I believe in reincarnation? That's another question. That's another question. And reincarnation is also in the Bible. That's the basis of the Bible. And so in any event, if you think verified words intended for a certain purpose mean something that they were not intended to mean and don't mean, and it would be the opposite of what you think it means, yeah, you'll disagree with me on everything, on everything. But if you comprehend what words mean and what they're intended to mean, I don't know how much you'll disagree with me. And if you do, please abide by our rules instated by our ancestors who created the Great York Constitutions of 926 in York, England. Let me know and show me how to improve, because that's your duty. But again, it's a separate relationship with me and the old York Constitutions. I'm the beneficiary and not subject to that contract. But again, I mean, same principles. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. All right, Cliff. I guess this is the third or fourth time we've tried to end the program, but I think we're going to do it for real this time.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks as always. Thanks to everyone who propagates God's word and God's will. And peace and God bless. We'll see you next week.